You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies.
This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Suits After Show.
We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show.
It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Suits After Show.
Oh, yeah.
I got my shoulders going.
I'm just doing the Roxbury.
You got the
Roxbury.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Suits AFTERBUZZ TV After Show. It's Season 4, Episode 7 already. We're done. You know what, Steve? We're done.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, bye. Bye, Felicia. I am your host, Tiona Hobson, and joining me, I've got the awesome and amazing, and spectacular and superb.
Keep them coming.
And I don't know any other vocabulary words, but I've got Steve Kauffmann.
Good looking, incredible.
Good looking.
You say incredible again.
Hot. I mean, the list could just go on and on forever. Steve Kauffman's in the house.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Sadly, Lauren is not with us this week. She'll be back with us next week. And Stacy's on her way. She's just caught in a little 101 traffic.
The 101 was really bad today.
Yeah. If you live in LA, you know what we're talking about.
It just, anytime I'm trying to come out here, it's always, I'm going to be 20 minutes early or I'm going to be just on time.
Just on time. Is
Like,
usually,
just on time.
Yeah, usually how it goes. Speaking of being on time, this has nothing to do with being on time because you know what? Mike was fired. And so I love that this episode picked up right where last week's episode left off.
Exactly where we left off.
Like exactly where. And I thought that was so great because I did not want a time jump or anything like that to happen.
Well, unless he really spiraled. Like if there was a spiral that unless Mike spiraled in a way that we would just have to like figure it out. But that's not what happened. Like everything in this episode happened within like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Of him being fired from the last episode.
And I love that. Let's talk about him and Rachel. So we know that Rachel had not a full-on affair, but she did kiss Logan.
Infidelity?
Yeah.
Infidelis act?
Yeah.
However you conjugate that.
She slipped up.
Yes, very much.
She slipped up, and she got caught up in her emotions. And her and Logan, got a little intimate. But, Amy has told her that Mike got fired. So, she's at home. She has dinner ready. And
I literally wrote guilty dinner.
Yes, right?
That's
it's like guiltiest dinner
let's
ever.
Be fair, had she not been cheating or adulterous in any way, she would still probably be cooking him this dinner if she heard he got fired. But the timing's impeccable.
The timing's impeccable. So did you think that because she was ready to tell Mike about...
absolutely.
Do you think that was the right time? He just got fired. Should she have even been thinking, I have to make him dinner and tell him I kissed the guy who he hates?
If we're talking ideal time, the day before would have been the right time.
Yeah.
But that's also a Monday morning quarterback. As of that moment, there was no right time.
Yeah.
Because if she tells him now, it's just kicking him when he's down. If she waits a while, which she did, then it's like, you kept this from me for that long? She was screwed either way. She was. From that moment.
Yeah, but I love that she does the first guilty dinner, and then, the next day, Mike's there, and he's got spaghetti ready for her and wine, and he's just giving her everything, and he's all emotional. It's like, I spent the afternoon thinking about what I want to do because he went to talk to Stan. Was that his name?
Yes, Stan.
Yeah, Stan. And Stan gave him the great advice. It wasn't about making the money.
I loved that turn.
I did too.
That Mike, he gets fired and you think he's going to spiral, and then it's actually like he finds clarity of like, no, I'm with the woman I love. Everything's perfect.
Everything's great.
Everything's great. I don't care. I'm going to turn down this big check from this evil man.
And then boom, she hits him because all of a sudden she breaks down, and it's like, boom, actually, you know what? I don't deserve you. I messed up.
But, by the way, if you're talking about the best time, she picked the worst possible time. Where it's like, I found my inner peace. I don't need to be a lawyer anymore. I don't care what's what as long as I'm with you. You did what? Oh, wait.
But you know what? This shows how much Mike has grown over this series, because the fact that he just kind of walked out and, you know, didn't, I mean, of course he goes over to Logan's house and, you know, that whole thing, that was juvenile. But I feel like Mike last season, maybe season 2, would have reacted to her in a different way.
Yeah.
Like he would have, you know, blown it really off the handle and like been screaming at her. And I love that he just kind of walked away from the situation. Was just like, I got to get out of here.
And there's no love lost with him and Logan either.
Yeah. I mean, they were going to fight regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless if they kissed or not, at some point they were going to go and start tussling like a bunch of boys.
Logan's contentious.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about Stan, the one thing I wrote down as a quote was start by starting. Because as someone who's turned a lot around, that's one of those kind of ideas you keep is you just don't think, you just start.
Yeah.
Just start by actually starting.
All right. So, I mean, I am a fan of this show, so please, guys, don't kill me, but I don't remember Stan.
I'm going to lie and act like I remember. I remember vague context about Stan. I meant to Google it and then...
Yeah, I meant to look it up. So if you guys can help us out, please let us know.
Is the live chat up?
Yeah, I can't get on my live chat,
yeah.
so tweet us.
Please tweet us.
Yeah,
call us out on this.
Yeah, call us out because I remember his face, but I can't remember the context.
I recall, and that's partially the context they give you in the episode, but I do recall that he was a fraud, and then that pretty much Mike exposed him as a fraud.
Yeah.
I want to say it was season 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And YouTube comments will tell us exactly.
Yeah.
And if we're getting his name wrong.
No, at the end he did say bye Stan.
He is Stan. All
he
right.
is Stan. I got that much because at first I had a blank line.
Okay.
And then he said Stan at the end of it. So, I mean, I'd love to remember exactly what his fraud was, because usually at the beginning of an episode, if they're bringing back someone,
they usually
give you like the previously on, and they'll give like a snippet, and that triggers my memory. But this time it was no visual, and I'm a visual person, so I have to see like a scene that he was in before.
Great character.
Yeah,
great character.
He gave Mike great advice.
It's like the brain will create a memory if you don't particularly recall it, and that's how it was with Stan.
Yeah. So, I mean, Stan gives him the great advice. Let's talk about this fight, though.
Oh, this fight.
Because Mike...
This is how I thought it would go in real life, and how I didn't think they'd ever portray it.
Okay.
Which was, Logan looks like somebody who hits the bag every day. And Mike looks like somebody who just scrapped a lot. Just through his humble upbringing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what that fight looks like.
It does.
I thought the way they'd go would be one-sided one way or the other. Nope. Just a true scrap.
It really was.
Scrapper and a brawler.
And so no one won, right?
No. Well, no one ever wins.
No one ever wins.
If you're over 20 and you're punching another man, nobody's winning.
And you're not in a boxing ring.
Yeah, and you're not in a boxing ring or an octagon or an athlete of some type. You're not sparring or fighting. Like, you're just showing up to somebody's house to beat them up.
Yeah.
Nothing good will ever come from that. There's no winner.
There is no winner ever. But, you know, I kind of feel like Logan might have slipped in at the end to kind of win, because he did the mind game with Mike where, you know, as Mike's walking out, he's like, she loved it. I don't know what she told you, but she loved it. And, you know, so that's in Mike's head too, because Rachel just said, we kissed, admit nothing. So now you have the guy saying, actually, you know, I don't know what she was saying, but it lasted longer than just a couple, like a second, and she loved it. That's like a below the belt kind of like.
I mean, it's pretty consistent with him.
Yeah.
Like you can't be angry if a sleazeball is a sleazeball.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, well, no, that sounds par for the course for this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants something, he's gonna like dang near take it. And that's what he did. And then he didn't even seem too upset that he got into a fight about it.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, that comes with my territory.
He knew it. What happened to Logan being like, oh yeah, I'm such a changed guy and I'm better now, and now he's just kind of, you know, desperately going after Rachel, but dude, you're still married. So if you really want Rachel, prove to her. I'm not saying that like he needs Rachel and that I want them together, but at least do the signs of like, I want to be with you, and get a divorce from your wife.
I don't think he actually wants to be with her. I think he just wants her.
He just wants her.
He just wants to be with Rachel, like, for a couple weeks.
He just wants to win.
And then just home wreck. And then to him, that would be winning.
Yeah.
That he gets to throw her in, that when his wife comes back around, it's like, oh no, this was a mistake. just like the last time.
Just like the last time.
That she's more of a trophy than an actual person.
I like
and then
that.
he's destroying a relationship to get a trophy.
See, and this is the way guys think right here.
Well,
I'm just joking.
No, not all guys, but this guy. This guy, that's how he thinks.
Guy.
And yeah, I'm able to tell.
To tap into that part of your brain.
And then they both, what I found funny was like that Harvey and Donna are the parents.
I loved it.
It was, Mike goes to daddy's house. Rachel goes to mom's house. Nobody stays at that apartment for like 3 nights.
It's like, nope, no one's going there. But I love that they brought Donna and Harvey into it, because at first I was thinking, this is like their coworkers. For Mike at this point, it's his ex-coworkers. That's a little weird to, drag your personal stuff in. But then when you think about it and what they've all been through together and the friendship that they have.
And how the hours they work.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Nobody in that office has regular friends. You're friends with everyone you're working 100-hour weeks with just by necessity.
Yeah, just because that's what you have to do.
Because they're getting off work when you're getting off work.
Yeah, and I love that, it was something else to bring Mike and Harvey back together after this epic, brawl for the past 6 weeks that we've been watching.
Ended bad for Mike.
Ended bad for Mike,
and then, like, the way they kind of left it was like, and Harvey even said it a little, that it was like, oh, well, I don't think Mike would trust me.
Yeah.
And I don't, that's how he'd see it. So he felt weird about, because Donna was trying to schedule friends. Because that was another funny scene where Donna was literally, and I wrote down Donna quotes, and she was like, there was a much longer quote, but all I wrote were men are idiots. And then she had a bigger quote about you guys rather sit around and pout. Because we do that.
Yeah.
We do that a lot.
You do that a lot.
Instead of communicate. But, like, that she was scheduling, like, business appointments. And like, oh, well, business appointment, you have a 5 o'clock with this person, 5 o'clock with that person. And I penciled in a 4 o'clock with Mike Ross. Really? That's just your friend.
Yeah. And then I love that, Harvey, stubborn as he is at first, is like, no. And then has a change of heart and is like, you know what, cancel with that guy.
Yep.
I'm going to Mike right now.
And then he walks away and she's like, oh, crazy.
Like,
I already did that.
Because she's Donna, Harvey.
She is Donna.
She's Donna. She's on it. And then we have, even at the office, we have Lewis trying to console Rachel.
Oh,
so it's really
that was a great scene.
Yeah, everyone just coming together. And I thought that...
this fire under him, Lewis.
Yeah.
Are we going to jump to that? Or do you want, we have to follow through.
Yeah, I was just going to get through Rachel all the way through to the end. So, I mean, Lewis tries to be there for Rachel, but Rachel, in the state she's in, kind of opens Lewis's eyes in a whole different direction. But what she said was... I mean, not always true, but, she had real... Yeah. She was honest with him, and it's like, I felt bad because he kind of caught her at a bad time.
Yeah.
When normally she would be more welcoming to his words of wisdom. And, even Lewis being able to say, like, I hate Mike Ross more than anyone, but I know that you two love each other and that, like, this is gonna work itself out.
She had a really gloom and sadly accurate depiction of love, which is, I made a mistake so bad that the fact that we love each other doesn't mean anything. Sometimes you can love someone and it still won't work out.
Yeah.
And then it almost brought Lewis to tears.
Yeah.
And then it changed his whole outlook. But we'll get there when we get to Lewis.
I mean, but I just want to say that Meghan Markle, who plays Rachel in that scene, I was on the verge of tears too. I thought that was because Suits is always so serious and like lighthearted. That in that scene, for it to take that switch and all of a sudden, like, I'm feeling devastated, like I just lost the love of my life. It's like, wow, kudos to her, because...
Well, because the stakes are normally there. The stakes aren't always so emotional on this show. So it's very nice to see something where they're that rounded, where it's like, no, like she literally lost the only thing that would keep her going.
Yeah. And then you have Logan showing up.
Logan.
He's just chilling in her office like he owns the place with a black eye and everything from Mike. It's like, dude, get out of here. What are you talking about? Like, get away from me. She tells him it's over for real. Like, she's not going to be his lawyer anymore if he has any cases with Harvey. She's not working them because she realizes, like, he is poison and he's not good.
And within a professional context, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough for her to say, I'm not going to work with this person anymore. Like,
yeah.
That's,
I mean,
regardless of who was responsible for the misconduct, there was misconduct that's like, oh, well, if we want to keep him as a client, I guess he can't work with her.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
So is it something that she needs to, like, report to someone? Is it that sort of seriousness, or...
Well, I think she handled it. I don't know, I feel her professional relationship with Logan was specific enough that that's how she can handle it. Mm-hmm. And then she knew the Mike and Harvey of it all. That Harvey, who would be her direct superior, also knows the situation.
Yeah. Well, let's get into when Mike finally goes home to get some clothes. And Rachel is there because, you know, she's wants to talk to him, sit down, talk it out, see what they can come up with. And Mike is kind of, after, you know, Harvey gives him a great speech about how he should go home and he should hear her out after telling Donna before, you know, like, he clearly wouldn't ever be on Rachel's side because Harvey has his whole infidelity issues that he deals with. You know, Mike goes home and I thought he was going to be ready to, like, talk to her because Harvey told him to. And then he still was like, no, I need you to leave for a minute. And
I can understand his frustration because she feels upset because she made a mistake. So that's a lot she can take on for her actions. There's very little in that scenario that Mike could have controlled, which takes a lot more thought to process. And I think, and he said it best when he said, if we're going to talk about this now, it's not going to end well. That if there's any future, I should walk away, and I should find a place to stay for a while, and then we're going to figure this out. And I mean, it's bad, but I've seen relationships bounce back from things like this, from that stance exactly. I appreciate you telling me you've made a mistake. I have uncontrollable anger about that mistake. In 2 months, I might not.
Yeah.
And then we can talk rational about this mistake. But within like a 3-week radius of knowing about this mistake, yeah, I'm out.
Okay, so just talking about this, because one thing Rachel brings up multiple times throughout the episode is how Mike trusted her with his secret, and, you know, he had this secret that almost broke them apart, and he trusted her with that, so she needs to trust him with this. Do you feel like their secrets are on the same playing field? I feel like they're two such extremes that I was just like, Rachel, trying to compare your situation to his, not gonna bode well.
Her secret was directly hurts Mike, whereas Mike's secret is granted a bigger and badder secret, but isn't directly towards her, or even indirectly toward, like, other than, like, we've met under false pretenses, which she's gotten over. I mean, I understand the idea of we're in a relationship where I'm keeping a pretty big secret from him, but I think ultimately she's gotten over the fact that he's a fraud about those things.
Okay.
He's also a really good lawyer. Yeah,
he's really good at it. I just felt like she was using that as sort of not her justification for it, but she was using that as like the glimmer of hope the whole episode, that Mike's going to be okay with this because I was okay with his. And I'm just kind of like, Rachel.
I think whenever they do sit down and talk about this, if she brings that up at all, that'll be the one that'll make him storm out of the room.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is apples and oranges, and then he'll probably leave.
That's the perfect way to say that, because
that's not
apples and oranges, because it's just not on the same level. And she kept bringing it up, and the whole time I'm thinking, no, it's not the same thing, because
I mean, dishonesty
is dishonesty, but loyalty, and you know, that's a whole different playing field.
This is really sad for these two.
I know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I was more sad about. You know, Mike and Harvey are fighting the whole first part of this season, and now I have Mike and Rachel broken up.
I'm actually happy we never had it happen at the
same time, because I don't know what I would...
Like if this has happened last week, we're like, wait, Mike's fired, and now he's fighting with Rachel, and he's still fighting with Harvey? Like, oh my God. They like to pace these things out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my heart could have taken any more.
There's a lot happening to these people.
Yeah, a lot's going on in their lives, man.
And we make this joke a lot, but I'm like, not a lot of work going on.
There isn't a lot of work.
That's me being jokey. I'm aware they work probably 100-hour weeks, and that what we're seeing are the glimmers of them not sitting at a desk just stewing on all these problems they have.
And speaking of more problems, because I'm going to move us on from Mike and Rachel onto Lewis and his problems.
Yes.
So Lewis grew a freaking backbone.
Well,
and
I think, and he got a pep talk from his associate,
he got a pep talk.
Always seems very overdressed. I mean, she is Lewis Litt's associate, but she always seems like dressed for a cocktail party.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, well, guess that's how they're wearing it now.
Maybe they're throwing cocktail parties in the bathroom at Pearson Specter. I don't know.
But she gave him a really good pep talk of, if you've made this choice, there's no going back on this choice. You should just channel your inner Harvey. Mm-hmm. And then Jessica comes in and says, you get a reward. You get a reward. And first thing's out of his mouth, like, I want to be named partner. It's like
she didn't even get the full word out before he's like, Pearson Specter lit.
But I mean, he's worthy of that.
He is.
And that should have been the next sentence she made. But she was also clear in saying, this is your biggest win here. And so far, like, by asking that, you're coming off as a sore winner. And that's actually what I wrote. Lewis Litt is a sore winner.
Is a sore winner.
Nothing wrong with being a sore winner if you win all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and also, it's just, if I were Lewis, I'd be not scared, but that might not have been the first thing I thought of because of the way I got that win. You know, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, well, what if it comes to light? Like, and now I'm a named partner. That's going to hurt us even more than if I was just here. Yeah, I would feel guilty about it. And so I might not have said named partner then, like maybe in a couple months when I feel better about it.
A star quarterback doesn't make you the coach either.
That's true.
There was a big jump and granted, there's a lot of stuff between Jessica and Harvey that he doesn't see or understand. Mm-hmm. And that's by their design, and also because, for better or worse, a lot of decisions he makes don't turn out well. And I'm not saying he's bad at making decisions or he isn't a smart guy. I'm just saying that his track record, aside from that win, aside from his daily duties of running the associates and the general flow of those cases, like the big stuff that usually goes to Harvey tends to stay with Harvey. And he did not pick the right spot.
Yeah. He didn't pick the right time to come for that.
It would be, I would like, if that's what his end game was, which it's always been, and he's pretty sure he's straight up about it.
Yeah.
He's been straight up about it.
He's very open about what he wants.
And I appreciate that, but then the issue would be if she comes over and says reward, the more polite and less braggy way of, like, there's a bigger word for that, but would be to say, I would like an opportunity from you for me to continue to prove myself that I can ultimately be a named partner. And that's all the reward I'll ever need, is give me another opportunity to knock the ball out of the park, and one day you'll have no choice.
That's very true. I like that. That's a humble way to approach it.
That was the word I was looking for.
Boom. Me and my vocabulary today. Boom. I'm on it. Yeah, well, he doesn't go for that. But eventually, you know, Amanda's working on, you know, his list of reward options because Jessica, after she very eloquently puts him in his place, which is the thing I love most about Jessica, is that she cusses you out without ever cursing or raising her voice. And it's something that, like, I don't know if it's...
Or even cutting you down personally.
Just, like, chopping you at the knees without you really realize. Like, it's something that my mom has.
Yeah,
that
I know a lot of folks. Like, even way back when she was at a table with Mike Ross, and they were going to discuss about how he's, like, the whole plot of the show, that he's a fraud. And it was one of my favorite moments that he can name like random things out of a textbook, and then he leaves a laptop open in front of her, and she says, that's great, now I don't need a laptop either. And then goes bam, and then they pull out, but we're left to assume they just
had it out,
just battles of random
law trivia.
Law stuff. I'm a TV host, not a lawyer. Like,
yeah.
Law stuff.
Law thingamajigs. There we go.
All the law things.
So, I mean, Lewis does finally come back with what he wants, and he wanted to amend his contract to allow telecommuting when he feels appropriate and a month's more vacation a year. He wants it in writing, and his partnership protected for as long as this situation persists. What was the situation?
Well, his situation with
Sheila?
Yes,
Is that
with
what
Sheila,
he's
sorry.
talking about?
I was thinking of the actress's name, and I was like, no, Sheila.
Okay.
Because the issue with Sheila is that he wanted to stay in New York with her, and she didn't want to go to New York. And this was right after the scene with Rachel, where he was literally had that eye-opening moment of like, and it was ultimately like a stubborn thing to do, which was, no, Rachel, I'm just being weird. And then he goes in and it's like, this is what I want to make it work with her.
Yeah.
And quickly goes back. Well, not that quickly, but like...
Yeah. But I was very happy for him that moment. I was like, okay, go get your woman, Lewis.
Or then at least he's finding something out. Like,
yeah, he's going for his own happiness instead of trying to make other people happy, which Lewis spends a lot of his time trying to make Jessica happy, trying to make Harvey happy. And instead he needs to focus on himself and what makes him happy. And if that's Sheila, then he needs to go get her so that he can be happy again.
That's a really good turn for him.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just pat my shoulders real quick. But of course, you know, he before he really makes this deal done, he has to go see Forceman, where, you know, Forceman forces him to take that.
Well, not only the Switzerland and Cayman Islands, which is one thing if it's like he's going to route it through for him, but he literally was just like, I need you to sign this to say that I'm going to reroute a lot of the money to you directly, because I'm not going to get my hands dirty if you aren't. So that in the event this all goes through, and it's actually really smart on Forceman's part, because otherwise Lewis could do it in a way that the paper trail only comes back to Forceman, and he doesn't want that. He wants Lewis to be involved.
Yeah, and Forceman's smart enough to know, you know, all the tricks, because Lewis was like, I'm not getting any money, like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, oh, yes, you are.
No, that's the only way for me to ensure that you're going to handle this the way I want it handled, which is tax sheltering and incredibly illegal, and everything against Lewis would ever do. But Lewis channeling his inner Harvey, and he's right by grabbing the bull, but incorrect as thinking this is what Harvey would do.
Yeah.
That he's correct that it's like, I need to be more aggressive, I need to grab my situations by the horn and do enough for the firm that the firm will make me name partner, and which is what I ultimately want. But this is not a good deal.
Harvey always paints it in a way where, I think Jessica said this a couple weeks ago, you know, make it, what was it? Not blurred lines, but something like...
make it...
Along those lines of where it's not right nor is it wrong. And I think Harvey does a good job of like always making sure that his actions look that way if they're questionable.
Blurring,
but Lewis is flat out just doing it.
Or at least the Harvey we've seen in this show has a moral compass. It doesn't point north, but it doesn't point the other way. Like it's probably like 15 degrees away from north is Harvey's moral compass. But he has one, and I think Lewis's was due north, and now he's just
spiraling,
taking like an 80-degree turn. Where it's that 90 degrees would be
all the way down to the south.
Well, 180 would be the other way. 360.
Again, we're TV hosts. We don't do. We're not math people.
I actually used to be a sailor, so this is kind of sad. 90 degrees. 90 degrees would be like a full fourth. Because
an angle here.
Because a 360 you'd be back to where you started.
Yeah.
And 180 you'd be the other direction.
We're
learning stuff.
We're learning stuff. We're going to teach you all you need to know right here on AfterBuzz TV. So, yeah, sorry, I had something to say about Lewis, and I can't remember right now. So we'll just talk.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. It'll come back.
Lewis's thread pretty much walks through everybody else's thread today.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what I was going to say. Lewis, right before he goes there, you know, he has this epiphany that he wants Sheila back, and Sheila is a very by the books person. So my thought when he's like signing this off and kind of sinking deeper into the rabbit hole, you know, oh my gosh, Sheila's clearly going to come back. And what happens when she finds out about this? Like, if she comes back and...
I don't think he'd ever tell her. And that would be part of a much big... Like I said, the problem with being somebody whose moral compass is due north the whole way is if you go a degree in any direction, it's incredibly noticeable.
Yeah.
Like someone like Harvey, whose compass is 10, 15 degrees to another direction, it's to be expected, and that's what you come to know.
Yeah.
For Lewis to do anything that isn't due north, you're like, well...
Like, what's going on, Lewis?
And that's ultimately what would happen with Sheila. Like, whether or not he had to sign this and be really in bed or not, it's still going to happen that, like, even if he did it the way he wanted to, where he just kind of... Hello. We're just gonna move this over.
Stacy's joining us now.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, Stacy.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
We're just talking about Lewis and his deal with Forceman.
We're not talking about how fabulous your makeup is?
Oh, well, I mean, we can talk about that too, but we'll do that. We'll do that later.
I didn't need to.
I mean, okay.
We didn't need to bring it in.
I just thought that's what we should be talking about. But, okay. Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. Yeah, so we're just talking about kind of where we think Lewis's moral compass is right now.
Ooh,
and, you know, especially with him trying to get Sheila back and the repercussions of, you know, her being so straight and narrow by the books person.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that.
him blurring the lines.
Right.
That she wouldn't go for that eventually. The way he channels everything through the Caymans, and
So we're saying that eventually she's going to find out?
she's eventually going to find out and be against it. Or he'll never tell her.
Or I hope he never tells her.
Probably never tells
I
her.
mean, like Mike and Rachel, secrets always come out.
But she told him. And I don't even... Are y'all there yet? Have y'all gotten there?
We did Mike and Rachel, but you can weigh in.
I would like to say I'm upset with Rachel. I don't have a problem that she told him. I have a problem the way she felt after, like she didn't expect him to get upset. She was very, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have told him. And it's like, duh, somebody just told you that last episode not to tell him, but you did anyway. So that was on you. Like there was too many things that she just would be like, what if he never forgives me? That might happen. I need you to actually think about that. You know, she didn't think. She just, I get it. It was a moment of weakness. He was being extremely kind to her and extremely beautiful, and she took it as a time to destroy. Good job, Rachel. But I just think overall, you know, again, I think, yeah, she could have told him, sure. But just the timing was terrible. He was literally pouring out his heart and telling you that he just lost his job, but everything will be fine with you. And that's the perfect time to shut it down. I mean...
Because the question that came up was what would have been a good time? And I couldn't think of one.
Right after it happened.
Well, yeah.
You know, the whole week spent, that's what got him the most. The fact that she waited a week, you know, and then... You know, I love Rachel for her honesty, but when he approached her again and said, "Let me tell me the truth. Tell me what happened," she goes, her whimper face. This is not the time, Rachel. This is not the time. I need you to step up and say it didn't mean anything. Logan is a pig. I love you. Shut it down right there.
But that's not
but
what
no,
because that's not what's happening in her brain. That's not the truth.
And then she goes to Logan and like makes it look like he was his fault. You came to my apartment.
I mean, that is...
That's no. I mean, I don't know. Right. She came to his apartment and then she said, "Just so you know, this will never happen again." Blah blah blah. He's looking at her like,
I think Twitter's harsh enough on Rachel.
You're right. I saw it. I saw y'all on Twitter. I saw y'all on Twitter. Twitter, you had me. I was retweeting and favoriting. I was trying not to favorite too much, but they saw me. I mean, So, I mean, there's that.
It's definitely something that she could have waited for Logan to come into the office for his next meeting with Harvey to, you know, keep it in a professional setting, because then, especially at Pearson Specter, glass doors everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to try anything
so
because
true.
Everyone can see, but going to the privacy of his home is... It's setting the mood. It's like, I'm over here to tell you one thing, but I mean another.
Exactly, and I'm here before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Why? That means your thoughts start at 5, which is when my thoughts start, because after that I'm sleeping. But you know what I mean? So it's just like, I didn't understand that. But that, you know.
Yeah. I always thought it would be funny, the paralegals who work in that office and kind of know everybody and like what their side of this story is.
That is so funny.
Like them at the water like people we just like the extras we just kind of see.
That is so funny.
What is your story?
USA, I will do this web series for you.
Boom, there it is right there.
Like that is, you gotta hire him. That's awesome.
USA,
Pearson Hardman,
call us up.
Pearson Hardman water cooler.
I love
It's
it.
a comedy. Straight up comedy.
I couldn't believe it would be.
You have Donna kind of dropping in every now and then.
Every now and again, it's like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah,
She is.
give
And then
her
they run
facts.
away.
And then,
No, it's true. Like, snaps on Donna. Oh, have
Love
y'all
it.
love her.
all right. So let's get back to Lewis.
Okay.
Yes.
On his way out from talking to Forceman.
Well, he signed.
well,
he
he
signed into
signs-
that deal.
Yeah, he signs into that deal.
He's channeling his inner Harvey, not understanding how Harvey operates.
Yeah.
It's not. The thing is, Harvey doesn't ever have to sign a deal.
Yeah.
He never has to go that far. He always ends up getting a favor out of it, and someone
Yeah.
still owes him at the end of it. I don't understand his ways, but I love him for it.
It's like
so.
Harvey has this way. I said this a couple minutes ago. Harvey has a way of blurring the lines,
Yeah.
where you know what he's doing might not be quite right, but it's also not definitely wrong. And Lewis just signed something that is definitely
That means,
wrong.
by the way, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So,
This is so.
so it's like there's no blurred line about that, Lewis. Like when you're caught, you're caught.
And he works for a law firm that the SEC is
our-
wholly investigating.
yeah, and
Totally
he knows
investi-
that too. So
I
there's-
mean, what do you think he should have done when he figured out what Forceman was trying to do? Because I was really stuck there. I had to rewatch it and be like, okay,
That
because
scene at the end, of last episode, where he already knew, like, oh, he wants me to wire the money through the Caymans in Switzerland. As bad as it would, as much as it would hinder his win and ultimately take away from his win, because that deal wouldn't actually happen, he should just tell somebody. And I think
Yeah.
that's what any other day, I think that's what Lewis would have done. Mm-hmm. And it was just that day,
Yeah.
he was deciding to grow bold because he felt he would never move up. He would never move up. He'd always be a doormat. He would always not be respected enough.
But don't you agree with that? I mean, even the way Jessica treated him in this episode,
I
I'm
agree.
like, Lewis, you're still not.
No, I agree with.
It doesn't matter.
Like in the rah-rah he had this episode of like the big pep talk. I agree wholeheartedly that Lewis needs to get more aggressive, but he needs to be true to himself, which is hard because I think all he's ever wanted to be was Harvey.
yeah,
I think that it's an identity problem.
It really
That there's
is.
less of a
you're
who.
You're 45, Lewis, or whatever. I need you not to be worrying about your like. You should know your identity. I mean, I don't know. You're a lawyer, not an actor. Like I don't.
Well,
I mean, you are
part
an
of
actor,
it he
but-
does. Well, I think part of his identity he knows. Like
He
like
knows,
with the
you're right.
associates, he knows what kind of lawyer he is. But then this is the one time where he's like, no, if I want to be Harvey, I should
the
just
one
do what I
person.
think Harvey would do here.
yeah.
And he's dead wrong.
He needs to start realizing that, just because the lawyer that he thinks he is and the lawyer that people see him as are different.
Exactly.
He needs to find a way to blend them together in a
Exactly.
natural way instead of trying to mimic Harvey, because that's when you get
He can
slid
only
off
do
the
what
deep
he
end.
can do, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
There's so,
And
Lewis-
every lawyer is different and unique, and
Exactly.
they have their own style of lawyering, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're any less or any greater than anyone else.
Yeah.
You're just completely different,
Different.
in that way. And once Lewis kind of accepts that and lets the whole jealousy, like envy of Harvey go, then he will see, like, hey, I'm actually doing the right thing. I'm an amazing lawyer and
Yeah.
I've accomplished all these things, but he just needs to see that first.
And I mean, and what he does with Mike is a step in that direction. and I like his logic of
Yeah.
wait, I just signed a deal with the devil, and you're about to go in there and take a check. That's
Yeah,
not
because
happening.
he absolutely. Oh, that was a moment. I was saying, Lewis, you can get it, Lewis, because not really. Ashita. I'm channeling my Ashita right now. But it was such a moment of just like absolute praise from me, because I have never seen Lewis step up in that way. I guess when it comes to Mike, wow, I was so impressed, and I love how adamant he was about making sure he didn't go there. Because Mike, I mean, at least the way it looked like he was really going to go, which I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing
No, he
here,
was
Mike?
gonna.
I mean, Mike had lost everything at this point. He didn't have
know.
Rachel. He didn't have a
he
job.
was in the same
he's-
place Lewis was in.
Yeah.
And they're both in the same state of mind. That it's
Yeah.
And that's when devils like Forceman come in and
come
get
and
you. And
take
what
you.
Harvey was trying to get Mike to avoid, he's like, no, he's saying everything that he knows you need to hear
Exactly.
to
To
get
get
you to
you.
take this offer
Gosh.
instead of doing
But
the
that
right
$1 million
thing.
check, I'm like,
I mean,
just right
$1
now
million
checks.
sign-in bonus.
He
note-
said exactly.
The note I
still
wrote
get to
here was
work on
didn't
time.
throw the check away.
You're right.
Oh.
He was
And
handed a check.
that's the thing. They always
did not
leave
throw
him with the
away.
check. I'm like, why do you need to do that?
I had that moment too, where it's like, he could go and get he could go to the bank that check's drafted on and probably get a decent amount of it.
No, but I feel like he should.
cash.
Like Mike is so good at this whole. I don't want your money, or I don't want that. Then give it back. Why
No,
is it
he's
still in
not
your
that
hand?
good.
Yeah.
Like
That's $1 million.
He did that last time too,
Yeah.
when he gave him the, the.
You'd think he'd tear it up and not
Yeah,
read it.
he
It
was like,
nope.
here you
he
go.
read
And then
that.
he still opened it and read. Mike,
He's-
you're not serious.
He's still a human being.
True.
At the end of the day.
And then he said, not for $10 million, but he kept the check.
Yeah,
kept that
I
check.
mean,
I love how Forceman was like, I'm not writing a $10 million check. Just so you know.
Just so you know.
One is it. Let
$1
me know.
million plus a
Damn.
salary is an incredibly fair offer for a
Goodness.
disgraced.
For a guy who didn't go to
Yeah.
law school, are you joking?
Well, he doesn't know that.
True,
Yeah.
but
For a lawyer turned disgraced.
Stockbroker.
Investment banker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Investment banker.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we have Mike back
Yeah.
at Pearson Specter
Oh, yeah.
because of Lewis changing his
So
reward
cool.
and being, and that's a huge step.
And
for,
Harvey jumping on top because the idea, and I liked Harvey's reasoning of like that has to happen
he lawyered her.
because he was literally like, if what would happen if
That
we
was a
if we
good-
told Lewis anything other than yeah, absolutely, a great lawyer who left here on good terms wants to come back.
That is, and
He'd
the-
look into it. He'd look into it. He's the highest ranking person here that cares and doesn't know.
And that's funny because when he said it, I didn't even, my mind didn't even go there originally
Yeah.
because I forgot that, like, I remember everyone knows, but I just didn't think that Lewis would ever catch on. But the way he described it,
yeah.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
wow, that was so perfect.
The reason Lewis doesn't know is because he's the one that can't know.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll never take that well.
I think it was interesting how the writers made sure to write in that this is the time Mike came back, because I know Lauren and I were talking last week, which I miss you, girl. But we were talking last
was
week
also
about.
That's all. I was literally right here.
No,
He was
of
there too.
course. But her and I made the exact same point about them writing it in a very authentic way, like not bringing Mike back the second episode, everyone making up, but they went through an entire fight before it happened, and I believed the whole thing. And so now that he's back, I'm like, oh, well, now he has to be back. But if he would have been back 4 episodes ago, I would have been like, they weren't committed, So I think that was
like they
very
were
cool.
never gonna let him not be back.
Exactly. They let him ride his pain all the way out, break up with Rachel, and then come back. I'm like, alrighty then, this must be perfect.
Yes, this is the
This
perfect
is
time
gonna
to come
bring
back.
some episodes. Yeah.
Although I do like that Lewis. It's like, okay, Mike Ross can come back. That's my only thing. But can I have Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Can
He was like, we can work that out. I'm like,
Rosh
Harvey, I
Hashanah,
love
it's,
it.
it's a religious holiday.
It was
It's got
perfect.
I still want that extra vacation
Perfect,
time.
perfect.
And that's a huge step for Lewis too, because I mean, clearly he's still very angry with Mike about using Sheila to, during this whole epic war battle. But for him to kind of step in and be like, "Hey, look, no, he's going to come back here," and then to be excited to have Mike back,
Yeah.
like that says a lot about Lewis and his character.
Very cool.
And
Like, I think he believes in love more than
yeah,
he believes in love, and
He does.
yeah,
he
and
definitely
he
does.
believes
Yeah.
in love more than he believes in Mike Ross. Because I don't think he particularly cares for Mike Ross.
no.
But the fact that Mike Ross has love and that he had love, they have something in common.
Yeah.
So now that he's back, though, because remember, he's been trying to steal Mike as his associate for
No,
for
I think he's happy with
ages.
his associate now.
Yeah, but like,
'Cause-
whose associate is Mike's then?
I don't think
Is
Mike would
Mike.
be in a.
I'm sure
Is he
they're
an
gonna go
associate
right back.
anymore? Like,
we're gonna learn. I have a feeling that's what next episode is. But I
Yeah.
have a feeling he at this level, for him to leave and then come back. I think he.
does he have to start all over?
No,
Or
no,
not gonna be
because
a
he's still
part-
because he's not
No, he's not gonna
he's
be a
still
partner.
not
But
he's
is
not
there-
going to be higher than.
Is there a step? But is it associates then
Step
partners? I don't know
between-
this.
It seems like it, but I don't.
Yeah. There has to
Are
be
there just
maybe-
lawyers that are better than that are higher up than associates, or is
But
he a high?
remem-
He could be a high-ranking
But
associate.
remember, Lewis associate is like a third year associate, so she always kind of held that over Mike of I'm a third year
Exactly.
and you're not. So she's still technically higher than him, I believe it.
But I
She's
think
still
he's
associate.
handled more.
Yeah, but I mean,
definitely
we're talking
have
about
it.
ranking wise,
Yeah.
because obviously,
Yeah.
like, he's
You're right.
way
They
more
could make
important.
him come in at the bottom.
Yeah.
That could be Jessica's one way to stick it.
Yeah,
I don't feel like
Then it's-
Jessica needs to stick it necessarily. I feel like she's just like
That's how she'll
she
do it,
doesn't
though.
want, but she doesn't. But why? Like, it's not about Mike himself. It's about the baggage that he brings. So,
Yeah.
so sticking it to his back, that's unnecessary. It's like, what's the point? He's still
Yeah.
a good lawyer. I would really hope Jessica doesn't do that, because her and I had some moments with her this episode.
well, I want to talk about her real quick
Yeah.
before we have to wrap up this episode, because she has Lewis double check Malone's work and all that stuff. Lewis tells Malone,
Aw.
because he's in his mood.
Yeah.
So he tells Malone. Malone storms in there and is like, "Hey, like, you need to trust me." In this argument between Jessica and Malone, whose side were you guys on? I just want to hear, sort of.
Jessica.
I thought he was being a giant baby about the whole situation.
I was so disappointed. I'm like, Jeff, I need you to stop thinking it's the same thing. And the thing that I hated at the end is that she was like, you're the guy I'm involved with and you're this, so I need to do this. No, do not make Jessica come down from her level because she was right from the beginning.
Yeah.
You were going to make this about our relationship and it's not. It's about work.
Thank you.
Bottom line.
He's like, you have to trust the man that you're with. I'm like, no, she's at
She has to
work.
trust her employee.
Yes.
That's all she
So
has to
at
do
work,
right now.
There are separate terms and we are not like together here because it's a professional environment.
Yeah.
She has, she runs the whole company. She's sleeping with an employee. That's a whole thing in itself. And they're lawyers, for crying out loud. So,
Seriously.
that's definitely a case if something goes sour. So to keep things separate of like, yes, you can both be in a relationship and work together, but you have to separate the two. And you don't bring work into the bedroom. You don't bring the bedroom shit into work.
And she is not. It's cool because Jessica has stood her ground for so long, and that Jeff had to come at her like that to make her feel so guilty. It really bothered me. I'm like, dude, you are not getting the picture. And we know at Pearson Specter, no relationship works out. I mean, Harvey and his girl, which I could not stand her, but the point is, could not stand her. But she's gone. Rachel and Mike always had something going on, and then them two now. So it's like, we know.
Although I think in this episode, we needed one relationship to be working out.
I know. And
we needed one happy ending.
It's like, can they at least not fight?
I feel like the only relationship I'm like cool with right now is Harvey and Jessica and Donna and Lewis. Like, because it was like relationship wise.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously there's not involved, but still, like everyone
Not
else, I
yet.
was just kind of like, girl, boy, you better
read the comments.
stop.
You read the comments.
I was really upset. I love y'all.
Yeah,
but
I read those
was,
comments too.
I'm thinking, okay, are we gonna mix and match people that I really rather not mix and match?
I mean, even Lewis associate Amanda, right?
Katrina?
Katrina. Oh, her actress. The
Yes,
actress's name is
Yeah,
Amanda.
yeah.
Duh. Anyway, she, had that one line tonight about like,
my God, yes.
I'm slightly attracted to you, and Lewis is like, don't ever say you're attracted to me.
It weirds me out.
It weirds me
I was
out.
like, she's high. You're tripping.
Yeah, so I mean, odd
He's in
coupling
love.
all over the place, but
True.
overall, good episode. A lot's going to be happening in the coming weeks because I mean, I think we're on
3
episode
weeks?
7, so we have
3 or 5?
3.
It's either or 12. I think
well,
it would be. I think they do 12 and 12, or 10 and 12, maybe.
They might
10 and
do.
12. I thought it was 8 and 8, but
That might work too. Either.
I
way.
don't think next week is.
It
I think
can't be
they're
the
going
end.
10 and 6, maybe.
Something like
Oh my
that.
gosh, I
Something
just
like-
don't want them to go
something.
Their
anywhere.
suits will be right here.
Yeah, their suits will be
Bottom
here.
line.
But before we go, let's get into our predictions.
Yes.
Because
Ooh, I don't know how I feel.
Hey
about
there, good buddies.
Oh, there it is.
I was like, I didn't hear.
Sorry
anything.
about that. I was I was on the wrong button. Sorry.
it's all right, good.
He got in my VO library. Well, that's my southern. Hey there, little buddies.
So we already kind of talked about this. Where does Mike fall in the chomping pool?
Seriously.
Because the clip we see is Rachel saying, I'm Harvey's associate, so if you're working on a case with him, you're working with me. Does that mean they're both Harvey's associates? Is he no one's associate? Is he a floater associate?
feel
What is Mike's job?
If any associate at that law firm that we're aware of is able to handle a case by themselves without being a designated associate, it would be him. He'd be the
Yeah,
most
but that's
qualified.
boring. Like, this
I
is not
know.
fun. I don't want to
Like,
see Mike
I
doing
need
stuff
Mike
alone.
working with Harvey directly.
or someone.
Or
'cause
fighting with Rachel to work with Harvey.
Yeah, but either way, I feel like Mike in the chopping order, because Rachel was a paralegal, but now she's in law school. So now she's kind of back at like first
And
year
she's-
associate level, and Mike's up here at like second year, I think is by
We
now
would
his
say,
second year.
yeah.
At least third, right?
It's the
Maybe-
4th season. I would say they should have been doing this for 3
But
years.
I can't remember how the years split up.
Yeah,
I don't know
true,
how much
true.
time
Timeline
has.
of the show.
I've
Yeah.
never seen them celebrate a Christmas, so it might be one long.
And that's what we judge things by.
Like,
Christmas
I just
episodes.
feel like Christmas episodes are everything. That's just me.
If I
But
ever
whatever.
write a spec of suits,
But
that's
yeah, I need
the
y'all to
one.
really, do that. But anyway,
Any other predictions from you guys?
long-term prediction. I'm sticking with my theme. I'll just keep making Lewis predictions. Lewis will be named partner.
oh, okay, I'm cool with that.
I like that.
I love that.
I'm gonna say this time next season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Donna's gonna fall in love with someone. It's gonna end badly. I'm just making random predictions now.
I'm like, ooh, okay.
It's not gonna work. Rachel and Mike are gonna have a lot of time apart.
Yeah, I don't see Rachel and Mike getting back together anytime
so,
soon,
yeah.
especially since they have to work together and Mike's still so freshly wounded by everything.
I'm kind of irritated that they're working together so closely after it because there's going to be a lot of those like, excuse me, I didn't mean to rub it. You know what I mean?
yes.
Those moments in the bathroom, or probably the bathroom.
And that's where they met. That's how they met.
It's too
Yeah.
much for me. But I do think that Jeff and Jessica are going to have some issues next episode that I'm going to want to really
I'm done with them
see.
having issues.
I
Be
know, but I'm
happy.
hoping. I
Unless
know,
she fires him.
I feel like there's going to be some more brewing with them, and then I also feel like, yeah, I mean, Harvey's going to have to be a mediator between
Yes.
Rachel and Mike the whole time.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you let us know what you think is going to happen. Where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Steve Kauffmann. That's Kaufmann.
Make sure to check me out on Twitter and Instagram at One Take Stace. Can't wait to hear from you.
And you can find AfterBuzz TV all over social media at AfterBuzz TV, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will be back next week with a brand new episode of Suits.
Woo! From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
I'm one of the sheriffs that.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.